Oh, I thought you wanted me to entertain.
Yeah, I did.
I could do a comedian act too.
I'll take that one too. Let's do it.
How about like, I don't know, something peppy, something to get us
Peppy?
going, like the new Drake album. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm going home now.
He's like, I am so tired of
I'm going home. Going
I
know.
That's your song.
How about some Bob Wills and the Texas
I could do
Playboys?
I can do. Because
Oh,
Bob
man.
Wells is
How about some good 80s?
80s?
Yeah.
Early 90s, actually.
I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking of the right words to say. I know they don't sound right. Remember that song?
Yeah.
Oh, I was over here picking up the
Depeche
pizzas,
Mode. That's
and I
Depeche
got Rick
Mode.
rolled.
Oh, yeah.
I swear I saw it.
That's actually New Order, but
Yeah,
New
it's
Order.
New Order. Same.
Same
New
thing.
Order, Razor, and the
Okay,
Depeche
so
Mode,
what
like,
about Sade?
Sade.
Oh, there's so
Well,
No,
that's
not
my-
you. Don't
that's my
sing
dad's
her.
girlfriend.
Don't sing her. Put it on.
Please don't sing.
Please don't.
Please
That
Oh,
will
it's
just
singer,
totally
damn it.
destroy
I
the
know.
moment.
I don't need you prancing around like a girl.
Right.
singing.
Kitty.
Come on, Cody.
Please don't
Cody,
sing
come
her.
on, Cody.
Shut
Cody, come on.
down. Play
Cody,
her.
give me today now. Come on. Give me
Say anything now.
like, take it this time. Just roll it around.
I got you trained real well, Mom.
All right.
Yeah, hold it over for me.
I mean, I'm a great DJ. Here, how about this? I'll help you out.
I
Because
know.
I played Steve's album. You know when you have like your favorite album and it's dark and you're cruising in your car?
It's dark.
Yeah, yeah.
You
When
cruise
you're
around
driving
at
in your
night.
car. There you go, Steve. Remember that?
Oh my
Don't act like you didn't know.
Do you really want to hurt me?
Can't help it, can you? Windows down, hot as hell in Texas.
That'll get you shot.
I like boy guy culture.
Cruising through Fredericksburg.
I like culture club.
Yeah.
Boy George.
I like boy George.
Tom tumble for you.
I've told before.
I didn't know you were gonna be over here doing stuff, so.
Okay, come on. Next one.
Next one, I'll put on a really good one.
Hey, can you do one? That was for Steve. Do one for me. Go down the line. Give
I'll do
everybody
your
one.
son.
Why do I get Boy frickin' George, man? Really?
Because that's entertainment. That's why Randall's here.
Boss, like, all the way in the bathroom.
That's why I'm here to entertain. I'm
Beauty.
like,
Okay, I'll come with him.
Because she got out
Rockin'
twice.
to the beat.
there you go.
Beat.
You should hear her son do this song when he was how old?
Both my
5?
boys are rappers. Am a wonder, Mike, and I say hello.
How old are they?
25 and 16.
9 years apart, Jesus.
You know what? I think we've been
Look at
live
that.
for the last 5 minutes because Joe's real quiet. He's been trying to get some
So my oldest.
Technically, it is streaming, but it's
professional
streaming
dancer
to a scheduled live
that
feed.
raps and
So,
does a lot of singing, and then my youngest
so it's scheduled to go live in 4 minutes.
except Mexican.
Except, I mean, it's like the camera still.
No, my oldest
crazy,
is a
isn't it?
professional. Because I was a dancer, teacher. I still am. I'm a director of a dance. studio.
Wyatt is
And,
now like.
Anyway, so he went on to teach. He lives in Houston now. He's 25. He dances professionally, but he teaches hip hop. He also raps. He's coming out with his first song in about two more weeks. And then my youngest is a lyricist / rapper. He's in high school, and he is going to come out with his own separate. So they're both doing two different. Like my oldest is kind of.
So Alex is just flaked out the last 2 days. Hasn't
But
come
my
in.
youngest is more like a little more mainstream.
Hey,
They're both.
I know.
And lyricists and.
Bust a move.
So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
A Mexican M&M, I like it.
Well, yeah.
No, I just
And they
gave,
look
I gave
like-
him the next one.
Same mama, same daddy,
Night and day.
bipolar opposites.
Really?
One's tatted, one has long hair, wears braids. My youngest
Let me
is
see.
Mr.
Clean cut.
Preppy?
Tight, 6'1".
Uh-oh, Esther just asked
everything
me.
has to be pristine.
Where y'all at?
Like,
She goes,
he
hey,
can he
get
clean.
this, you ready?
Very
Hey,
clean.
what are you doing? Oh, shit.
She see my skirt.
You're not on air,
I'm trying
Okay.
to cover
are
up.
you?
It's okay. It's all right.
I've been trying to cover up. Because I didn't know if the cameras were on earlier. You were trying to lean on me. And I was
Well,
trying not
that's
to
okay.
get
She
you on
didn't
track. Get you
See,
track.
hey, what are you doing? That was at 6:13. About
It's
7 minutes.
like,
Tell him, what do you mean? I'm upstairs asleep.
I can't think of the movie now.
The movie?
Green
I'm
Lantern.
gonna say, buddy, whatever do you mean? And
I might actually eat
Something out
some
of Green
pizza.
Lantern or something
I
like
actually
that.
like Green Lantern. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little kids movie, but I actually like that.
Yeah, it was decent.
Okay, one more
Alright,
song.
so
I
Right
think
is
it's
working.
because of Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
He did it good. Yeah.
He's
Right lower is working. That one looks good.
He did it good.
not Ryan Gosling. What's
Can I
his-
do one more song request?
Left isn't
It's
working.
Ryan Gosling, isn't it?
Yeah. Green Lantern.
It's
Sade.
the other guy.
Got all
Hey,
kinds of people.
who's the funny guy from with the red and blue suit? Deadpool. Who's that guy?
Oh,
Ryan
Ryan Reynolds.
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 I was saying Gosling.
Okay.
You were
They
trying to
both
agree.
kind of look the
That's not
same.
agreeing
So
with
was
me.
Gosling.
They do look
Ryan
kind of the
Gosling
same.
is-
Ryan
is
Gosling
the
was
other
with
guy.
with Mendez with what's her name?
Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling's like he was in this badass film with whenever he was an attorney.
Yeah.
What's his name?
What movie
What was
that?
it?
I don't remember.
They're both hot.
Yeah, they're both good looking dudes for sure. And Gosling was more shredded up because he was in that chick flick whenever he was teaching that dad the moves and he ended up starting dating his
The daughter. What was the name of that
The
movie?
40-year-old
Saw that
virgin
like
guy.
4
What
times.
was
I
that
don't
movie?
remember.
That
That
movie
was
was
a good
great.
movie.
I like it.
Gosling. Dang, I'm trying to
And he
think.
played that killer. And then he was, of course, he was in Notebook.
Yeah, The Notebook. The Notebook.
I've never
You've
watched
seen
The Notebook ever.
It's a great movie.
I probably should not.
Chip flick.
I
You
cry.
haven't
I
watched
cry when Bambi got
No,
shot.
Oh,
You
yeah,
haven't
you
watched-
watched
you haven't watched
Notebook?
Notebook?
I haven't seen Notebook.
I can't. I cried just watching Empire.
I can't watch. I can't watch Marvin and Me. I can't
I
watch
say we just put
Dog's
on that movie
Purpose.
and forget about the show.
Yeah, I say we just pick one. Everybody cuddle up, watch
it's,
a movie.
it's supposed to go live in 49 seconds here, y'all. Let's
Yeah,
see
it's
if it
okay.
happens.
It's
Okay,
alright.
okay, Ryan Gosling. Okay, it is.
See?
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with the camera.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, but Reynolds is way different, but they're both good looking dudes. I think they're both been on like
Reynolds
top
has-
6
has-
men in the world.
All right, so if this goes live in the 28 seconds, Steve, you need to scoot in as close to Tony as you can. Y'all two need to scoot in
Tell
as
your
close
wife
as you can.
right now. This is
It just
nasty.
decided last minute. Yeah, you're good right
That's
there. If you
okay.
lean forward, you're good.
She
Yeah.
knows I have this
Right.
effect on women.
It's
I
for
can't.
I have
whatever
to
reason
pee
the
again.
camera zoomed in and it
Gotta
won't
go.
zoom out.
I have a little bladder.
I don't have a
Jesus.
bar to put in that.
Baby bladder.
7 seconds it says.
Oh Jesus. Fastest key in the universe.
10 seconds.
We have a solution. The Whine No Whine Show, where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour, where we gather people from all different walks of life and perspectives, and we talk about everything that everyone has told you not to. Religion, politics, and everything under the sun, nothing is off limits, and we do it all over a glass of wine. So grab a glass and join us as we save America, one civil conversation at a time.
C'est la vie.
He's slightly been out of shape from, some little mishaps in technology.
I'm telling you, it's just the craziest thing, technology. But hey, we're live. It is what it is.
It's all good.
We're going. We may only have one camera angle and one working camera, and that camera may have decided randomly just to zoom in on its own and not zoom back out no matter what you do to it.
So you mean we're not in frame?
No, you got, like I said, y'all got to scoot in, be
They said
friends.
we are friends.
You got it? Is everybody in
We're
frame?
good. Okay.
Everybody's in
Okay.
frame, all right.
Yay.
So
all
we-
right.
so
Don't move.
Relax,
So we can lean
relax.
back?
Don't move.
Chillax.
It's Jason and Steve, right?
Yeah.
He's in?
Y'all
You
are,
gotta
as
stay
long as he's
forward.
leaned forward.
Do
Yeah.
not lean back.
Right? You need a pillar or something? You can't-
No, 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 no.
Oh,
Yeah, if you lean back, you're out of frame. You're out of frame. Yes. The joys of modern technology.
Whenever I have
Yeah.
nothing to say, I just.
Joys of modern
You would just
technology.
fade out.
It's
You
If you're unsure of a point, just start talking and then lean back, right? Like
Hey, that's a song.
what
Can I get
happened?
lean
What
back
happened to
song?
that guy? He was just talking and he went away.
Faded on out.
Woo!
That's hysterical.
And we have a heavy-duty topic as well. Heavy-duty topic. Today we are talking about, is America great? Yes or no? What are your thoughts? And by is America great, this is not a Trump slogan that I'm talking about here. This is not the last 2 years. I'm talking about America as a nation, as the history of America. Is America great? What makes us great if we are great? If we're not great, why are we not great? What's your thoughts? You guys chime in on it. I'd like to say we would address your comments, but I don't know that I would see them.
Look
Yes.
how beautiful we look.
I need binoculars.
Our volunteer production crew behind the scenes here are showing us that we actually are live. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it happens. It happens. So you guys chime in with your thoughts on that. Whether we get to actually address the comments or not, who the heck knows?
We'll address them later.
We'll figure it out.
In a perfect world, would it show up on that screen and we
Yes.
could actually see it?
In a
Yes.
yes.
I just
Yeah.
want to know what it was really like to like be on screen.
Yes.
and shit working right.
Yes.
Just curious.
Yes.
This is what live TV is really like.
Yes.
Facebook Live. So
And-
you
and
are
see-
experiencing real life Facebook
Right,
Live.
right.
Shit happens.
No,
It just
normally when it's working, see, we used to put the video like up where people could see us,
Yeah.
but then all they did was watch themselves.
Yeah.
But
Right.
now I got this cool space.
Right, space kind of a thing going.
I like this.
Right.
Oh, which is
Not
really
the
relevant.
coolest
Yeah,
wallpaper.
it is kind of, well, it was relevant. We were going to talk about the
Oh,
moon
we
thing.
exited.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
we exited.
Yeah.
But we could be great because we went to the moon.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. Take a hammer to it, son. Yes, there you go. So
Harsh language.
in an
okay.
ideal world,
It's
now
okay.
we have the time up just to keep us in track of what's going on with time.
Okay.
And then as people are commenting, production crew like grabs the good comments and throws them up on the screen.
Ooh, gotcha.
So then we can like go,
Okay.
oh, so and so said blah blah blah, and then we react to it as a group,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So
I remember-
don't know that any of that's going to happen.
But we're just going to do it anyway.
Right,
We're
we're
gonna
rolling.
lean the heck out of
I
this.
do have a second production team just showed up here, right? After they had to
Yeah.
put the dog down because the dog
He's
was
Feel like this.
going nuts.
Production science.
Production sign, yeah. He's saying,
Means go
shut
down.
up.
Shut it.
Shut your mouth.
He just wanted to hang out with us.
Yes.
I
yeah.
just finished eating.
Yes,
Leave me
you.
alone.
I don't get any wine
Because I'm too
because I'm too young.
Yes.
This guy might be
embarrass
onto
me.
something.
Right, he's working it.
Yeah.
Ethan. So we have theoretically PowerPoint over there somewhere. It's not called PowerPoint, it's some other thing. If you press F5 though, it still shows the comments on this side, so it's ready to roll. So all you gotta do is copy and paste it into it. Good to go.
We're good.
He literally did not have any training. Brand new thing. Brand new piece of software, that is.
It's going to be
He's
the
a-
best
he's a
show.
brand new
show. So just stay
I mean,
tuned.
software.
We're about
Yeah,
to get it
Brand
rolling.
new software. All right, so let's get this shindig on the road here.
Let's do it.
All
I
right.
agree.
We're going to do our shameless plugs, introductions real quick, fly around the room here. And Steve, since you're the veteran on the show,
Oh my God.
Right.
Veteran Great
Start-
Head.
start-
veteran Grape Head on the
Oh,
show.
veteran Grape Head. Okay. Well, my name is Steve Williams, and I've been doing more shows than I really remember. But I'm here, glad to be here, and my shameless plug today is another call for if anybody wants to give me an extra 10 to 15 years of life. If you feel like you have an extra kidney to donate, I would be glad to discuss with you the option of going to my transplant office and getting tested. So that's it for me in a nutshell. I'm going to rock on. I'm going to try to stay healthy and keep on doing this show.
Amen.
Keep on, keep it on.
Amen,
Yeah.
Steve. And he's serious.
Yeah, that's no joke.
That
That's
is not a joke.
He needs a kidney, so if you're out there and you think you might be compatible to my dear friend Steve Williams, please contact the show. We would love to connect you.
You
Okay?
can get tested.
Thank you.
Yeah. Esther
Oh,
just started blowing up the
Sorry,
comment
sorry,
feed.
Here
sorry,
comes.
sorry, Esther. That was totally innocent hug. Totally innocent
yeah.
hug.
All right,
We
Tony.
planned for that.
Tony.
I am Tony Rodriguez. I am the creator of Stretch Your Lifestyle. It's a brand about being committed to helping people live the life that I think you were intended to live. I call myself a second phaser. As a second phaser, I don't believe in the status quo. I believe in just being the best human being that you can be possible. Go to stretchyourlifestyle.com.
Rock on. Christian.
Christian Bell with KBC Construction. I formed a company about 2 years ago. I've been in business for the last probably 15 years, but the last 2 years I partnered with a fantastic individual who also, you said, is
A sponsor of the show.
a sponsor of the show. I didn't realize that my business partner was a sponsor of this show too.
Wow.
He's involved in everything.
He got his hands in a lot of
but,
stuff.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, known him for
Okay.
the last like 5 or 6 years. We basically do high-end renovation, custom homes, design, build. We also do commercial build-outs because apparently one of the sponsors is Phil and Derek's. We did, myself and my team did design and build that place out, Phil and Derek's Lounge and Phil and Derek's Restaurant. We had fun doing it. We had fun doing
It's
projects
super
with all of
cool.
our clients. So
It's a great place.
yeah, so at the end of the day, if everybody out there is still in need of remodeling needs based on the flood issues, whenever people get settled down and floods or funds actually with figuring out what they want to do with their home, their investment, reach out to us. Christian Bell, KBC Construction. I believe the website is kbctx.com.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go. All right. Jason.
Jason Hyman, I'm the owner of Real Link Real Estate Services out in 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. We offer brokerage and planning services for infill development and community development. So I actually want to say right now, BBVA Compass, for those, if you have any viewers that are looking for homes, they're doing like a 100% financing loan.
Oh, wow.
product.
That's
So
good to know.
potentially get into
Production
a house.
team, send BBVA an invoice, please.
Because he just
Oh,
plugged.
oh.
$500. They want a $500
Send him a $500 invoice. You heard him.
Okay, they get you in the home. So that's my shameless plug. All right, guys.
Where can they reach you? Where can they reach you?
Notjustanagent.com. So not just
Oh, that's cool.
That's nice.
Not just an agent.com.
That's nice. So the 100% financing is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm
So
a real
there-
estate agent too, so I'm gonna be talking to him in a minute.
And one of my sponsors on the show, Nicole Thalgy, is with
Oh,
EXP Realty.
Hi, Nicole.
We have lots of realtors.
We know a lot of realtors.
Yes.
Competition is
Yes. And we actually, Dean DeBasey with First Choice Home Loans, certified mortgage planner. Less than 1% of the mortgage people in the United States have their certified mortgage professional title. And so he's actually really good at what he does. And he's been in the business for 14 years. Really sharp cat. And obviously, not everybody
And you
is.
better be watching, Dean.
Right? Not
You usually can tell if somebody's
He's a
watching, but
yeah.
you know,
Right.
they got
He's
stars.
a-
Hey,
getting
we're
married.
not gonna keep
not
Stargate.
everybody.
rubbing the
Yeah,
the
don't
Right,
rub
right.
it in. Don't rub it
subject
in.
out here.
Oh,
wait,
Yeah. He's
no.
teasing us. Don't put it up there. Oh, he's trying to put the comment feed up there.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to do. He doesn't want to. He doesn't.
There
he
we
wants
are.
us to see.
Hey, oh, look at us.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Hey, kid, this is a private moment. Can you give us a second?
Yeah.
Look at us.
Wait,
Look.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, no
See,
pressure.
this is why we don't put it up there anymore because everybody.
looking like
Yeah, everybody. Oh, look, it's me.
myself, right?
It's me. yes.
Steve's
You're a
in.
perfect
Steve's
image
in.
of that.
Yeah. So this is why we don't do it anymore. But see, you can see the comment feed on the side there.
Oh,
So.
Look at my skirt.
David
Look at my skirt.
David Pipkin tuned in. He said, "Hello, my fellow gray pads." Thank you, David. Mac Blankenship. Mac is a regular watcher of the show. He's been on the show. He said, "Let's get it on. Let's go." Kalita Parsley, also a regular watcher on the show. She said, "Joe, next time the wine bottle give you so much trouble, just get a different bottle."
That's awesome.
Yes. We are on our second and third bottles of
Yeah.
wine. I will tell you
Gina
on the
Bumpus.
show.
Hey,
Gina's tuned
Gina.
in. What's going on? Yeah, we had a rough start here. I will tell you. One of maybe 5 of the really roughest moments of launching the show.
We're
but
good.
but you know that's the joy of a live show. That's the difficulty. I posted today, literally today. This is some of the crazy stuff that's happened on the show in the last month. To be clear, in the last month, On Thursday nights at 7 p.m., we do the same show, but it's called the Artist Edition.
Mm-hmm.
And we have musicians and artists, local musicians and artists on the show, right? Well, we just booked a Grammy Award-winning artist.
Wow.
Selena's brother.
Really?
No kidding.
Yeah.
The Selena.
Yep, the Selena. Selena's brother, Nando, he's going to be on the show. He's got a new group called God Street. They're going to be on, right? So he's a Grammy-winning artist. We had a young lady. We actually had to get clearance for this, which is pretty crazy. A young lady on the show a few weeks ago. Savannah Adkins is her name.
Yes.
Right? Stupidly talented 17-year-old girl. Amazing voice. I was just so blown away by her. I promoted the show. I'm like, you got to hear this girl sing, right?
Yeah.
Promoted it, threw it around. A gal I know reached out to me. She's a PR agent. She reached out and said, "Can you get me in touch with this young girl?" I said, "Yeah, of course." I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "I booked for American Idol."
Oh, wow.
She goes, "I want to get her,
She's amazing.
in front of the
Yeah.
American Idol people." So I said, "Sure." They watched her video. They said, "Absolutely, we want to audition you."
Wow.
She auditioned, and she got the golden ticket.
No way.
Yeah.
She had the golden ticket
That's
as
a
well.
good way,
Yep.
good way to connect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So we booked a Grammy-winning artist. We got one of our artists on American Idol. Right. In the last 30 days, our group, which is our talk page that happens all day, every day, right? The Whine and Whine Show group has increased in membership 8,000%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right. So we're over 3,400 members now in the group. And in the last 30 days in the group, we've had over 6,000 comments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Over
So
half.
this is going to make us famous.
Over half of the audience, over half of the membership is active
Yeah.
in the page.
Yeah,
Right.
they really do.
So it's not just fake likes or follows or
Yeah.
whatever. Literally over half of the group is involved, talking, commenting,
Yeah.
Nice.
whatever. Right?
That's
So
core.
we are working to change America through civil dialogue, showing America that we can talk about real, serious issues that are facing America, and teach people that you can talk to each other without being jerks, right? And look at this group, right? We have a diverse audience here, young, old, in between, all over. This is
young.
I'm old. I'm the old in this group. I got the gray.
Youngins here, some youngins
Me
here.
and her, the youngins.
Right, right.
Ah.
And so tonight we're going to talk about
Steve,
a
I'm sorry, you're
serious
stuck next to me.
issue. We are going to talk about a serious issue. And you know what? I will tell you guys as the audience, I want to encourage y'all to chime in on this and really be honest, right? It's so easy to say, "Oh yeah, America's great, America." Right?
Yeah.
And that's easy, right?
America.
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 America. Right?
No A. America.
No A. That's right.
America.
Right?
America.
And I'm not saying that America's not great. What I'm saying is, don't just take the easy road and give a stock answer and start waving the flag and play the American anthem, right? I'm saying let's really discuss what makes America great. If it is great, if your take is that America is great, why?
Or your opinion why it's not.
Right, exactly. And if it's not, break it down. And if it's a mix of the two, let's explain why. Let's delve into it and really have a real conversation and leave out the insults. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about everything, and it's a win. No matter what your position is, it's always a win if you're discussing it civilly with the idea that you will respect the other person that's talking. It's always a win, I promise you. So, with that said, let's jump in.
I would say to start it off is everybody's perspective is going to be completely different on any subject. But this particular subject, there's pros and cons to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in life. So I'm not going to say that America is not great, and I'm not going to say that America is number one. That's what we're kind of basing this topic on. It's like it's number one. But yes, I do appreciate America for what it is, 100%. The freedom, the liberties, the ability to speak and do stuff like this, do this talk show. But there's a lot of downfalls to America, just like any country, just like anything. Everything has its pros and cons. So just started off, I would say that I'm open to hearing the pros and cons of all of it, of any opinion. But I would majority of love to say that I love this country just as much as anybody, and I'm very proud and very happy, especially as a Texan, to be proud for where. I think Texans are the most proud people.
Yes. That's why I smile.
We're a little obnoxious.
I'm arrogant as hell whenever I tell people I go around, like, where are you from? I'm like, Texas.
Hey, I will give you
Straight
just
up.
nothing to
Straight
do with
up.
anything. This
Straight
is
up.
as one Texan to another, just giving you my favorite thing to jack with other people from other states. You have to do this like with all seriousness. Like anytime somebody tells you they're from somewhere other than Texas, like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from New York. Look at them like you don't know where they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? But you vaguely recall it, and then
And you're like, oh,
wait,
like this.
wait, right? And then name a city in Texas that it's close by, right?
Is that by Paris?
So right. So here, I'll give you an example. All right.
Frisco?
Somebody says, "Oh, I'm from Chicago." You go,
Oh.
"That's north of Dallas, isn't it?" Right? No matter what they say,
They're gonna be like, what?
right?
They're gonna
I'm
fly off
from
the
I'm from L.A.
Is that Louisiana? That's next to Texas, right?
That's out west of El Paso, right? Right?
Yeah.
No matter where,
Yeah.
give a city, right?
That's
just
good.
in Texas, but do it with all seriousness and just watch their reaction. It's priceless. I really enjoy that one.
Like you don't know.
Right. So all right, so yeah, Orange, anything, Miami, it's
Gotcha.
east of Orange, right? All right. So anyway, let's dive in here. Give me why it's great, why it's not great. I want to hear it.
Why it's great, like I said, is because of the liberties that we have, the freedoms that we have, the abilities to go out and do what we want to do, to allow ourselves to advance, basically first and foremost. So the freedoms that we have to do that, and me being an entrepreneur, I guess I'm kind of speaking based on that behalf. Like it was easy for me to go spend $15 to get my DBA, and then as my company grew, it's easy to go out there and become an LLC. And then create clientele and create a living,
right?
create a living for myself and to be able to help my family around me and friends and things of that nature. So that freedom that I basically used based on what America allowed me to do was what I think is amazing. I'm not quite sure, if every country can do that. I mean, it's
Is there a
incredible.
negative?
All right, give me a negative. I want to hear negative.
Well,
that freedom isn't afforded to everyone, though, that you're talking about. Everybody doesn't have it that easy.
It's not easy. The thing is, if you're saying that you don't have $15 to go down to the court office to get a DBA,
Some people don't
Some
have
people don't have that.
well, at the end of the day, they make it almost as easy as possible. It's $15 just to really process paperwork.
That's understandable. But I mean, I think everybody doesn't have the same. The level of entry is different for everyone, right? So
Sure.
I think that's what makes it. When you talk about opportunity, housing, income, there's so big of a gap in America. That's kind of what makes it not great at the same time.
Okay.
So that's
Okay. So socioeconomic separation is part of what makes America not great for you.
at times, yes, for
Right.
some topics, absolutely.
All right.
Is there a positive for you? Is there? Do you
I'm
have a
here. I don't think I would live anywhere else because I do have those opportunities, right? I have them. I'm around people, and I've learned the things I need to learn to take advantage of those opportunities. But in doing that, I see that there's a lot of people that don't have that same access. So
Yeah. Me or you?
Ladies first.
So what I love about, let me say what I love about this show is I'm a processor, and I love to be open and meet people and hear about how they process information and how they process their life, their opinions. I'm very open-minded. Not everybody's like that. I understand that, but I like and appreciate people's perspectives. So this is one of the reasons why I love this show. First of all, this country was built for those who are driven. And it creates a lot of opportunity for people who are driven and like-minded. If you're sitting back waiting for this country to give you something, that's not going to happen for you. It's going to happen to those who get out of their stifled state, whatever that state may be. And I respect things happen to people and they get stuck They get stuck in a cycle.
Mhm.
But for those who are fortunate enough to figure out their way out of that stifled mindset,
And you're saying that that's actually their doing.
it takes a certain
It's
individual with
their,
a strong
it's
will,
their, it's their
with a
mentality
really
that gets
strong
them out
will,
of it.
yes, to get
So
themselves
they have
out
a
of where
choice.
they're at. Where they're at, absolutely.
Exactly.
We all have choices. We don't all come from the same background.
So at the
You know,
end
I
of the day,
drank powdered milk. You know,
Yeah.
I grew up in a house where we did not have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I didn't know that milk came out of a milk carton until I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I come from a background where my parents did not graduate from high school. I mean, my mom did, but my father didn't.
Right.
So I came from where I didn't, we were happy.
Mhm.
Incredibly happy kids. I have an incredible
Because you
childhood
didn't know
that I would
otherwise.
never, but I wasn't given things. I had to work and understand, and my parents did a beautiful job of raising us to understand that the world's not pretty. Things aren't pretty.
Not at
Life's
all.
not pretty. And if you're driven and you're positive, and you're golden.
Mhm.
You're gonna make whatever you can imagine, Tony Rodriguez, you're gonna make happen for
Perspective.
you. So I live in the most amazing country that at 50 years old, I can change my lifestyle.
Oh, how old are you?
I'm about to be 51.
Oh my God.
I can change my life.
Can somebody vet this? Is this
Yeah.
true?
I live in the most
Fake news.
I'm in the
Fake
most
news.
amazing country
That's fake news.
that I can change.
CNN
my life.
must have said
Is
that.
she trying to sell
CNN
road
I
said
give
fields
up.
over here?
I give up.
Is she trying to sell road fields over here?
I don't
That must have been on MSNBC.
know that I can change my life at 50. Use social media to my advantage, educate myself,
Right.
become a realtor, do what I need to do to make my empire, make my fortune in the greatest country in the world because I am driven. It's just one word, it's just driven. And that's what I want to do. I want to give people that inspiration, that motivation to, hey, look, I know times are tough. Maybe you're in a different situation than I am right now, but it's temporary. Everything's temporary. That's why I think this country is so incredible and great. My grandmother was an undocumented worker from Mexico. I know all about the whole Mexico thing because I am Mexican, full-blooded Mexican, but born in the most amazing state, Texas. I know we're a little obnoxious.
Hell yeah.
But I am a Texan. I mean, so I visit all of those different topics that we talk about that get us all riled up. I am a product of that. And I think one of the negative things about this country, and I don't say a lot of negative things because I love my country so much, but I do have a thing about the whole insurance and medical system.
All right.
Sorry,
No.
that's my negative.
Nothing to be sorry about.
Don't apologize for your con.
Right, so
That's
we've got two clearly stated negatives that I want to jump in on because I think there's plenty of meat in there to discuss. We got one that's a socioeconomic. So we got Steve.
He hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I'm just actually bullet
Saving the
pointing
best for last.
bullet pointing the list so far. We've got a socioeconomic disparity issue. All
You
right.
want me to throw in a con?
Yeah.
I would say my con is the media and politics.
Huh.
I actually can't stand either one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's a good
All right. All right.
Seriously.
Yeah. No. That's fine.
So
That's
Now,
it.
here's a crazy
my
thing. We have freedom
I
of
hate
press.
I hate how the U.S. as a population is manipulated by what's on the news and what's on
to
the
believe
media.
a certain thing.
They do it on purpose. So at the end
Oh,
of the day,
yeah.
I have so many theories and so much crap that I would go on for days. But the whole point is, I'm just going to say the media and politics is the worst, most corrupt, stupid thing I could imagine about this country.
All right. So I'm telling you, we started late and it's just going to go late. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you now. That's the way it is.
Go get a glass of wine.
We're on
Right.
we're on a couple.
Grab
Good.
this,
We're
Jason.
all night.
I see. Yeah, I see.
Yes.
David's.
And see, this is part of the reason why we don't put the comment feed up anymore because we see it and you want to start talking about it, right? So in the past,
America's great because you can make
Yes.
fun of Trump.
that's what I'm saying. This is why we don't put it up there anymore. No, it's fine. It's fine.
No,
I'm letting our
I
our
thought that
people
was-
here
you don't
know,
have to take it down.
right?
I thought that was
No,
fun.
we-
All right. So in the past, we had the live feed, and then we figured out that people would just watch themselves, so that made for terrible TV. And then we just had the comment feed like we have now, and then we figured out people just read the comment feed, and then they want to start talking about it, and then even worse, They won't even. They're like, oh, really? Well, I just. And then I like start talking to the comment, right? And everybody's like, well, what's he talking about? He just totally shifted subjects, you know?
Oh
right?
yeah,
Right.
really?
So we figured out we'd pick out like really good contentious comments and throw those up after a while, and then we would address those topics. So don't let that throw you off.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff. There's some good stuff going on over here,
I can't even
right?
read it.
Yeah. So just close your eyes to that.
I
Right.
don't even have my glasses
So-
on. I can't see.
So
that
we got just to dial this in.
Ooh, David,
we've got
breathe, David.
So hang on, listen. We got Jason has the inequality, socioeconomic inequality issue.
I have
For-
the manipulation of the
he's
government
got-
and media.
He's got the government
Sorry,
and
medical
the
insurance
media.
got to
Do,
deal
let me
with
ask you for some clarification on that. Do you feel like the government and the media are in bed together? Is that like
I believe that certain networks are collaborating with certain forms of government. Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I
So
would say certain because do I know what they are? No, I just have theories.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Certain of it.
okay, all right.
Thinking, man.
Right. We'll get there. For you,
I'll
for
drop
you,
bombs
Yes.
all day long. That's true.
for you, the
Yes.
the issue is healthcare and
sure.
and our
Single
medical
mom.
system.
Struggling single mom, 1099 employee for the last 15 years. Absolutely. Medical insurance and let's get it on. Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. Then that's what makes
Ready
America
to
not
run.
great
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
All right, all right. And Steve,
Okay.
dial it in. Give me a thought here.
Man, I'm gonna wrap this up with a bow. I tell you, I've listened to 3 great comments and some banter about a lot of good things and some bad things, and all of those things are perspective. But this nation, I'm a historic. I am a historian by
You are
hobby.
historic, Steve.
By
I wasn't gonna say
Nice.
anything.
I'm so old. I make Methuselah look like a
We were
Happy New Year.
friends. We were friends.
Anyway, yeah, we were buddies. Yeah, we were.
Went to
yeah.
grade school with that guy.
We hung out in the same hood. Anyway,
He moved off though.
we come from a nation that was conceived on some principles that were born of strife, of challenges, where our forefathers came across and really were building their things from the dirt and from the natural natural things around their environment where they landed, and they established colonies and commerce and were sending stuff back to the European area, and it just, I mean, it started out so good. It was challenging, man. I tell you, the Indians over there, if you really get down into the history, the Indians had this thing like, who the heck are these people? You know, they had this healthy pessimism against us. So their perspective on our forefathers coming across, and then all of the things started kind of, hey, wait a second, we've got some problems. We've got some problems with opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
We got some things that are handcuffing us to keep us from being free, from feeling free. We have a lot of things that are really keeping us from expanding ourselves
It's a
and
certificate
creating.
of Indianship, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
man. I wish I had one of those. Anyway,
Right?
Yeah, I would have
Can you
gone.
get me
I would have
one?
gone to college.
all I'm saying is there's a lot of things that come from people's perspective, and I've been around the world, and I've seen a lot of different cultures. I've seen some fantastic stuff. I've seen some stuff that's better than what we have here in the States, and it all comes from what I think really what makes this country great is the people. No matter how you feel about something, politics, media, the economy, opportunity, healthcare. What was the other thing that you were talking about?
Healthcare is for me.
Yeah,
That was it.
all of
Healthcare, media,
those things.
Housing.
All of housing, this gap, and we keep hearing about these gaps, but look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. Look at what Tony's done. Look what I've been able to do. Okay, look what Joe's been able to do.
Look at
except
Joe.
He lives in the bottle now.
Look at you.
But you know, I think what was it? One of the core things about this show is that we should all be looking at somebody to really try to seek first to understand. Your perspective is important to me. I may not agree with it, but I'm going to get in your perspective. I'm going to get down and dirty with it. I'm going to understand it. I may still, at the end of the day,
And that's
disagree
okay.
with you.
And that's okay, Steve.
But my disagreement, I feel in my heart that it's going to be credible. At least you will know that I made the effort to understand where you're coming
Exactly.
from. There's not enough people out there that do that.
Amen.
They're so hung up on the
On their own beliefs.
Ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
stop thinking about this gap and start getting that stuff together. It may not be pretty. It may not be perfect. Country is far from perfect.
Absolutely.
Yes, we have freedoms. Yes, we have opportunities. But other countries have that as well. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We are exceptional because a lot of people turn to this country. They don't turn to you and us. They turn to what sits in Washington, D.C. And we all know that from what you were saying, your pessimism comes from you don't have a trust of government or the processes because you know what's going
I
on
believe
there.
people
Because
are
you're being
manipulated.
manipulated.
Okay,
I don't like
we're being spoon
I
fed.
don't watch the news because of it.
Correct,
Yeah.
and that's an advantage. So you seek different forms of sources of information. So
Correct.
that makes us good. That makes us at least nimble enough to understand that hey, there's a problem. I can't just be getting caught up in what I'm being spoon fed on that idiot box every night. Get out of that. Start getting to learn people.
Educate
Get out of
yourself.
your comfort
Learn
zone.
your community.
Learn to communicate.
Right.
Get involved with the community.
Yeah.
Guess
that's
what?
I'm saying, learn.
Know your people.
Guess what?
Know your
I'm
audience.
a politician. I'm an elected official in Harris County. Okay,
But
a lot of people know that.
But you learned your people.
He knows his
I've,
audience.
it's unbelievable what you can learn outside of your little world when
Things that are pertinent to here are
Yes.
not pertinent to like where my family's at in Connecticut.
that is
They're not. It's
exactly
not
right.
pertinent to damn Oregon. But the whole point
That's
is like
why
you
I
have to
sit there and
keep,
say that
you have
people-
to keep the blanketed marketed media in the actual area of where it's actually happening.
Or
Because
turn it
that's
off. Or turn it
specific.
off.
Or
There,
turn it
there
off,
is
but
no
that's
true
spec-
there is no true cookie cutter solution
There's
for
not. It's not.
national problems. It really evolves around getting
Who
down
makes
into
it
the
a
states.
who
Local.
makes it a national problem? The media.
Absolutely, because they
Who
love
makes trivial
chaos.
problems a national problem?
The
That's
media.
right.
Media.
It's the media that
Why
actually,
do we give
I
a
would not
crap?
know about anything
No,
that
hang
goes on over there
hang
in
on.
Florida or Maine or
Are you,
Why is it
are you
that
about
we
to
get-
say Kylie Jenner? Are you about to say what?
Oh, I was going that way. I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say the other K word. I said, why should we give a single flip about what the Kardashians are and what they do? I don't care. I don't care what they do, what they stand for. They're a distraction. That is the That is what I consider to be one of the biggest negatives.
They're a distraction
in
to
this country.
progress.
But
They are distraction. You sit there and you're watching your TV like I'm looking at the camera, you're going, oh, what is she bad?
So let me challenge
You know,
you guys.
it's-
to something.
Hold on.
It's
The media
trivial.
Hold on.
The media
Everybody
feed-
look at his face
feeds
real
what-
quick. Do that again.
Uh,
That's he's looking at the idiot box. He just turned into an idiot.
That's
Into the
right.
idiot box.
And that's what happens. And I get so frustrated.
I
you
want
know.
to challenge you guys with something.
Sure, challenge.
Hold
That
on.
was my negative, by the
ho-
way, is
the
that
host
they're
is
distracted.
speaking. The host is finally
It's all right.
speaking.
Don't make me shudder.
I want to challenge you
He's
guys.
had a
with
couple of
thought.
glasses of wine already, so he's good.
One of the kind of the premises that I think modern society, civilian citizens of the current day, is that get out the vote, everybody should vote, etc. I would like to challenge y'all with thinking that the founders of our nation had an opposite thought.
What they have?
They had the thought that the voter should have skin in the game. One of the conditions they had was property ownership, right?
Yeah.
Because you're paying
They have
taxes.
stakes.
Well, don't we
Yeah.
still have that now?
They
with
had a
citizenship?
vested
like you can't
interest.
vote unless you have
Right.
citizenship.
Citizenship, of course, right?
Right?
And along
Took
with
your
the
own.
right to vote, a lot of people believe that the idea that women didn't get the right to vote and they had to fight for it and all this sort of thing
Yeah, don't get
is
me
a
started.
false. It's a false idea. Women did not want the right to vote in early America. Why? because along with that came the requirement of service to the country.
Responsibility.
Right, there was a responsibility connected to it. You had to be available to serve in the military.
You see how that
a
crap's
number of different
manipulated?
things.
That's
Right.
part of something that's manipulated that I never even knew.
Don't you
Right.
understand the
So
women
there's-
around the world?
There's
yet?
there's a whole different dynamic to it. So
Not ridicule me for my ignorance.
So in other words, they said, look, we want a smarter voter. We don't want just everybody voting
We want an
willy-nilly.
educated voter.
Because what happens when the general public votes, inevitably, and this is historic throughout all of mankind, when everybody gets to vote, it becomes a competition for who can get the most free stuff. The politician that promises and runs on the most free stuff wins.
That's what
right?
politics is.
And so, I don't disagree, right?
Yes.
Which was their wisdom
Yes.
in saying you
Highly
had to be,
dramatized.
you had to own land, you had to be available to serve in the military, you had to have so much public service because it required you to get out into the community. It required you to serve. It required you to be a taxpayer. It required you to have vested interest in
We
the
should go
game,
back to
in the
that.
country.
right? Huh?
I think we should go back to that.
I think there. Look, I think there's inherent problems
there's
with
some
it.
merit to that.
I think there's some inherent
There's some
inherent
merit to
problems to it, but I think there's some inherent wisdom to it as well. All right. So I'm going to go back now to your government involvement in media and manipulation. I'm going to go back to your socioeconomic disparities
let's address it.
and say if I went on that little rant about voting and everything to try to connect it back to some of the original ideas here.
Yeah.
Right? If the voting process and if the government, there's a great saying that says we have the government we deserve,
I have a great question.
right?
Here to
Because inevitably we vote our leaders in and those leaders create the laws that we have.
Right.
So we have the government we deserve, right? Because we don't hold them accountable. We don't know the Constitution. We don't know the rules that they're supposed to play by, so that when they break them, we don't know, right? We don't know the process to hold them accountable,
Okay.
right? Steve's gonna any minute now. Steve's gonna whip out the Constitution, right?
I gave my last
gave
copy away.
Oh,
He
he
had a
always
copy
carries a
of his
copy with him.
declaration.
He always carries a copy with him. So my
How
point
dare
is
you
that
come
an
at
uninformed voter is easy to manipulate.
Correct.
Can I ask a random question that might spark some
Spark it.
Spark it.
debate?
Spark
Go.
Based on that criteria to
Mm-hmm.
be a voter, do you honestly think that Obama would have been elected president if that criteria was enforced?
Or a number of presidents.
They could-
But a number of
But
presidents.
you know what? There's no way.
Hold on,
to
one at a
enforce
time.
that.
One at a time. I want to hear each other's thoughts with this question.
And I'm ignorant, so the fact of like when did that stop being a criteria? So I don't
Joe.
even know. What year was
When
that?
the women
got
came
this.
in to vote.
When the women came into vote.
Okay.
People lose their perspective. You see a pretty
Christian.
girl, boom, perspective goes out the window. Yeah, you can vote, pretty girl. That's how it all
People-
started. I'm
people
just being
that-
honest.
People that run for elected office,
Yeah.
we want to deliver a message. We want to deliver a theory of how we would approach the position that we are seeking to be elected to serve in. Back in the day, we were all talking about, back when this all started, there was a term that was bantered around there called the citizen politician, meaning that they were going to go in there. Yes, I hear this.
Say
Yes,
box.
steal
Just say
third.
the word box.
Yeah, box. Anyway, all I'm saying is that a citizen politician was supposed to be elected to an office, and then when you get to a point, maybe 1 or 2 terms, then you're supposed to go back and do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. For
But
farmers,
that's in a perfect
lawyers.
world.
But that was a perfect world. That was a perfect conception. The original founding of this country was
It
based
was really
upon
beautiful.
wasn't perfect. It was as near perfect as you could from a moral standpoint, from creating laws that did not violate the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of growing room to do. We had some problems. We fought several wars. We had internal conflicts,
A lot of
which were
internal
extremely hazardous to everybody. But in the end, we're not to the end yet, but taking a snapshot now, we are at a point where we're not perfect. We're starting to see, people are starting to become aware of things like this gap and problems with health care, and we see all these negatives. My negative is that people are not as informed as they should be. They're running around with blinders on, and they're not keeping as much of an open mind as possible. So, like I said, I may not agree with you, but I'm going to crawl around in there and get dirty, and I'm going to find out what it's all about. 9 times out of 10, I'll have a different perspective on the issue.
Right.
That I know.
Well, you did your investigation.
And so, not enough people are doing that these days. And so, when we get to the point where we're going to make a decision on who actually leads this country, who our county officials are, who our state officials are, who our national officials are, they all have a message. They all have a way to tug at the heartstrings. You know, get you all. Get you. Well, what's the term my dad likes to use? My dad loves to use the term. You know, boy, that guy really, or that gal, she really gets your bowels in an uproar. Okay.
It's called manipulation,
But you know what?
maneuvering.
It is.
It's
Yeah, go.
position.
Can I interject just real quick as you're going? You always have these very
I know.
great views and great. Listen,
More.
some of us, our bandwidth is short because we're living this process, right? Our bandwidth is short. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough energy and enough mind capacity to educate ourselves like we should. I mean, when you're a single mom and you're paying those high premiums and you still have those high deductibles and you still have to go get, you know, mediocre health care for yourself because you're a single mom, it's hard for us to see the beauty and the greatness of our healthcare system when I feel like I'm just constantly shoveling it out and still not reaping the benefit quite as much as the next person. So I always appreciate your perspective coming from an elected official view, because people who are actually living the process, the people who are actually doing the daily grind, we don't have the bandwidth, we don't have the capacity sometimes to really educate ourselves. We're just I feel like I'm doing is just showing the money out. That's just how I feel from my perspective.
I understand.
And that's why I chose healthcare, because it's just it's very prevalent for me right now as a single mom, trying to figure out, like, you know, just staying healthy, doing my regular yearly screenings and things like that, and having to pay out of pocket all the time. Even when I have medical insurance, it's a struggle.
It is.
It's a struggle, and so it's hard for me to see some beauty in what my forefathers were laying down in 1776.
Well, check it out.
They made it difficult. It has become difficult.
Check it out. There's one. First of all, I just want to acknowledge this comment because I love it. It's such a short comment that's so well stated. Old Sarge, who is I've never met him, but just great comments on the group page, and he's a fellow Constitutionist. I've gotten recently involved. I've gotten involved with a new political party called the Constitution Party, and the whole premise is let's just follow let's just follow the Constitution, not an ideology.
What this country was founded on.
Right, exactly. Not Republican, not Democrat. Let's just
Be like,
focus on the Constitution.
Let's not complicate it. Let's dumb it down.
Right, and it's like let's
go back to
just
basics.
all agree.
Simple.
Whether you're liberal, progressive, forget all that stuff. It doesn't matter. We have a set of rules. Let's agree to follow the rules.
We have a set of guidelines.
So hang on, check it out. Well, hang on. Listen to this. Listen to this. We have a set of rules, and if we don't like the rules have a process to change the rules, right? So it's like let's just all agree to follow the rules, and if we don't like the rules, then we all agree that we'll follow the process to change the rules.
It's hard to get us all to agree.
Right? Huh?
It's hard to get us all to agree.
Which is part of the process.
Which goes back to
Because
relationships.
but hang on.
rules are gonna
Here's-
apply to
here's-
Goes
something
back to
that-
media sway.
So
right?
check it out. Here's why that's so relevant, right?
Okay.
Let's say it's common.
So, I don't want to get too sidetracked. I'll get sullying on the idea of the Constitution Party.
Yeah.
Old Sarge says representation without taxation may be as bad as taxation without representation. So one of the things that we founded our country on, we were pissed about, is that we were getting taxed, yet we didn't have any representation back in England, right?
We didn't have any say.
Right, exactly. They're taking our money and they're doing whatever they want with it, and we had no say. Right? Taxation without representation. He's saying that the opposite of that, representation without taxation, may just be as bad. In other words, I'm not paying anything into the process,
Yeah.
but I'm getting a say on what should be done with the money that you did get,
Right.
Right.
right? I didn't pay
Well,
anything,
that goes back to the skin,
but
the skin of the
that
game.
dude's money you took over there, I think we should do this with it.
Who brought that term up? We've all heard the term "skin in the game."
He brought it up
I
earlier.
think I understand.
I
But
did.
who
That's my
originally? I
fault.
think it was Obama that brought that up
Skin in the
early
game.
on in his campaign. I think it
Okay.
was late '06 during the '07 campaign.
Okay.
He started talking about things like that, and it resonated. It made a lot of impact on everyday people. I said, if you don't have any skin in the game, well, I thought that he would really meant back in there, trying to go back and remember what I thought he meant about that was, I said, well, if I don't have any skin in the game, does that mean that if I go ahead and elect you to represent me, does that mean I have skin in the game now? I really honestly think that that's something that I would like to get clarification on. I may not be correct, but
No, I don't.
I really think that this is another thing that
I wanted to give this over. I mean, like you said something earlier. There's a couple different points that I wanted to give you the floor on. Right, David in the chat. We saw it in the feed. Nobody else saw it.
I saw it.
We saw it in the feed where Dave was saying, like, how do we fix that problem, right? The
Yeah.
difference of socioeconomic stuff, right? How do we deal with that? But there's been a couple comments that I feel like you had some thoughts on, and
So where was that coming from?
Yeah.
Like where?
so
Tell me.
which
one,
part?
you're
Which
dealing
part?
with a
No,
couple.
I love to hear it.
The
Like
con-
that.
the cons
I love
that you actually
thought
brought
and
up, where's the
process. Like
process?
when you
So-
said
so
the
where's the
gap.
issue?
Talk about the gap. Like where are you
So
coming
when you
from
talk
with
about
that?
some of these things like having ownership,
Skin in the
property
game,
ownership, or
right.
having skin in the game, but you take some communities, how can they won't have skin in the game, so
Right.
they'll still be underrepresented in a sense.
mhm.
So if you have a community that already doesn't have the money or doesn't have the school,
Mhm.
it's kind of one of those things
To be able to get
to
the
be
money.
able to get there. You
Like
know,
Denver Harbor,
maybe like Denver Harbor,
Third Ward.
Third Ward. These are some places that they're going to take a significant amount of investment, financial and time from other people that do have it to kind of change it around. But even then, does it benefit the people it was intended, the initial intent was for?
Was for the people. Everybody.
It was for the people,
But,
right?
but where is that coming from? Do you think that it's been neglect of the government, neglect of on whose part?
I think it's a
that
little
have
bit on
gotten
both.
that
I think
community to where in the state
it's a
it's
very big
in.
part, in my opinion. I believe in accountability, but I also believe that like you don't know what you don't know. So if I'm in a community where my school is here and the other schools are here, and they're being taught something totally different, then I'm at a disadvantage already, right? To be able to even go. You're saying we all have those opportunities, but what if I don't know that that's an opportunity? What if I don't know that that's an outlet for
You
me?
don't know what you don't know.
I don't know what I don't know. And
Right.
maybe along the way, someone helped me, or I saw an image and I had the passion to go after it.
Sure.
But for the vast majority,
They're stuck.
you're stuck.
So let me ask you, on that note, so sorry. Ironically, I really need to talk to that guy.
but not right now.
Not right now.
Mike Linsky, you should be watching the show, not calling me. I'm just saying. What I wanted to ask you was this.
So where
Alright.
do they get the money?
Because as soon as I say if you had your own property, I'm with you. I'm already a step ahead. There's going to be people like how to get to the point where they can own property.
There's a tremendous amount of people that rent
Right.
and
There-
lease
there's-
that don't own property and possibly will never own property.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Right. So there's some inherent problems there.
Right.
I 100% get that. Right?
And you said
So-
socio-economic.
So my next then going beyond that was we start talking about it at school, because I definitely think that's kind of the next step. How do we get them to own property? Well, that's education. That's
Right.
knowledge, right?
Right.
Right. And now we have areas that kind of repeat the cycle of poverty thinking
Right.
through their education,
Right.
right? So what's the solution to that? Because I feel like we have a dictatorship around education. If you live here, you go here, period.
Yeah, I was gonna go to
So
that.
I want to
So-
turn it over to you on that.
No, I don't know the exact solution, but I do think there needs to be a better distribution of resources.
You just know there's an issue that something needs to be different.
But there's no way that school A that's a mile away from school B are this far apart performance wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because likely they're being taxed on the same level
Mhm.
around the place. So
Similar, certainly.
similar, you know. There's no. I think that the school should be kind of looked at on an individual basis and brought up to some standard.
All right.
What that
So
is,
check it out, guys.
How to get there?
I think this is a very relevant point to the topic of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is America great? America, I'll just throw out some quick facts and I want you guys then to dive in on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
America spends more on public education per student than any nation in the world. On average, I just happen to know these numbers. On average, we spend for high school about $15,000 a year per student. In secondary or lower elementary school, we spend about $11,000 per year per student, right? Globally. Yet we rank consistently somewhere around 15 to 18 in the world, right? As far as performance. Now, I'll give you another interesting tidbit to chew on. Private school, which consistently outperforms in graduation, percentage of graduation, and grade level, consistently outperforms. On the high school level, it's not as big a disparity, but it's about $12,000 per student. Private school, on average. It's a much bigger disparity on the secondary education, right, or elementary. I keep saying secondary.
In
Sorry.
junior high, elementary,
Elementary.
middle school.
The average is around 8,000. Right. So private schools are producing a much higher result, yet yielding or a much lower cost per student. It's significantly lower, not much lower, but
the
significantly
actual
lower.
people are the family is actually paying that cost because it's private.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, that goes back
I
to-
feel like there's a note there.
That goes
going.
back to healthcare. Like at the end of the day, whenever you actually
I
have
believe
things
the
under
same.
insurance, the insurance billed higher than what I could do as without insurance.
Well, they make more money off the sick people than they do the healthy people.
No, no. What I'm saying is
There's certainly some stuff there.
exactly.
Yep.
But what I'm saying
But
is
when you're paying
I'm
the
saying
bill,
that
not the insurance company.
Whenever the insurance company's paying the bill,
Oh, yeah.
it's higher than I
Oh,
would
yeah.
too as with no insurance. Is the
Absolutely.
exact comment that he's just making about schooling, like a person
That is the
going to
exact same
private
point.
schooling
That is exactly the point I'm making.
is actually being paid less than what somehow our government is paying for public school.
So who's running
like
this?
my
who's
child-
running this shindig?
Well, think about it. My child's going to public school is getting better education for a cheaper price.
Bills, everything.
And
It's
yet the government is actually gouging and charging more to do the same student.
So y'all chime in. Let's dig into this.
Okay,
So how do you want to
So
come
is
in?
whoever is distributing the
That
money.
goes back to the manipulation of the damn government. You can't even get started. I'm not even done. I'm
Why
done.
through the school systems of Houston, Sylvester Turner, are we not equally spreading the wealth? Why are we not
Yeah.
hitting every school district and every high school, whether 4A, 3A, doesn't matter. Why are we not getting the same amount of money, the same iPads, the same computers? And if you don't believe me,
It's called-
visit
it's
some
called
of
money.
these high schools
That's
and
the
see
root of all evil.
if
is
the
money.
high
We're saying
schools.
there's more money being spent. I mean,
No,
I
she's
agree
saying
with
why
that.
she's only
Yeah,
talking about public.
I'm just
She's
talking
saying-
about
I
public
agree. That's
school
my point
systems.
earlier.
She's only
I
saying
agree.
why certain public
So
areas
go to
get
Phyllis
the better
Wheatley High School.
technology,
I
better
agree.
stuff.
I agree.
Go to Phyllis
But it
Wheatley
has
High
to do
School.
with-
Does
and they
anybody
vote.
remember the term the Robin Hood policy or the Robin Hood
Steal from
plan?
the rich paper. Yeah.
Hang on.
And Ma Richards started that in the state of Texas. And how well did that work for the state of Texas educational system? From kindergarten through 12th grade, I don't
right.
remember a lot of success. with
Steve,
that.
before the comments get off the screen, there was 3 comments in a row that I have to share. And again, I'm
Hey,
I'm
poor
gonna-
education means an easier.
Yes, hang on. Don't steal my thunder.
Boom.
Manipulation.
Don't steal my thunder. Hang on. I said there's 3 comments in a row.
Thank you,
Yes.
Chelsea.
I'm gonna share these 3 comments,
Okay,
and I want y'all to
Chelsea.
respond.
Cheers,
Because
Chelsea.
so listen,
Wait.
listen.
Chelsea.
Let's clean for
Y'all are all right.
Sorry, clinkable.
Kittens, please.
Row the kittens up.
Right? Hey, listen, these 3 comments represent the entire viewpoint, the entire spectrum of this conversation.
Yeah.
I want y'all to dig into this. Chelsea said, poor education means an easily controlled population. Private education is afforded only to the wealthy. By keeping poorer families uneducated, it's adding to that gap. A prisoner attitude and an easily something and easily,
Control
right?
populace, yeah.
An easily controlled populace, right? David came in and said, That's what happens when you put government in charge. You pay more and get less.
Amen.
Right? Now, Jordan.
Did we just agree to disagree?
Now, check it out.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Listen to this. This is
Can I
so
have a shirt?
amazing.
I want a shirt that says that. You pay more and get less.
This is so amazing because you have Chelsea. She's making a comment about how much we spend. And she says that private education is only afforded to the wealthy. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, guys. Listen. We spend more for public education.
We as a populace
Right.
spend
Yes,
more
and
for
taxation.
those children to go to school.
to public
So
school.
But I don't like.
So-
Where's the money going, though?
So check it out. So then the last comment was, puts
To the Katy High School,
tinfoil hat on.
field.
Puts tinfoil hat on. So listen, that's a response to the idea of control,
Right.
right? So here's an individual saying, y'all are a bunch of nuts. You got to put your tinfoil hat on.
Right.
I already
You got your
my hat on.
conspiracy
Get your little
theory,
antennae going.
right? No, see what I'm saying? But this is
If you don't think that you're not being controlled by some sort of media, you better shut off every television,
Everything.
every news feed.
Unplug.
And the thing is, unplugged. The thing is, we are all controlled because we
Unplugged.
are getting an opinion from thousands upon millions of people.
Every day.
So unless you're trying to say you're putting a tinfoil hat on, going to live on an island, and you're actually completely unplugged, then get out of here with that.
all right. And I have to
Look what
agree.
David said about
I,
you.
I have to agree with David now because David
Jordan
said,
Anderson.
"Guess stop reading the comments."
I'm
All
with-
right.
I'm with-
So
I'm with-
all right. So Ethan,
Good.
shut down the comment feed because I swear this is going to take us through the rest of the show right here. Right. So listen, I really want you guys to respond to this, to think about the 3 points that were represented. Chelsea said that the education system, right? Only the wealthy can afford private education.
Can I say something to that?
But hang on, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make this point and turn it over to you guys. I
You're
promise.
so quiet, Steve.
Yes.
Alright?
I'm
So-
Look at him; he's so proper too. He's waiting for his moment. It's like he's
That's
sitting off in the
his
sidelines.
Yes,
He
he's got
goes-
his Zen over
He
here.
goes, I'm just waiting for my moment. I'm
That's
just
his baby
absorbing.
He's gonna ask us if we want to try his
Just take it all
green
in,
tea.
taking it all
Uh,
He's just soaking it all up.
How long have you been sitting in my yard? The commercial with the guy like trying
Oh,
my
yeah.
tea, right? Yeah. Anyway, so Chelsea was talking about the education and it is control and all this sort of thing, but that the only the wealthy can afford.
She blanketed public schools that wealthy or private schools that wealthy can only afford it.
Right.
And she blanketed the public schools as if wealthy people don't go to public schools. So at the end of the day, I don't agree with a lot of what was said, but at the end
That's
of the
all
day,
right.
I'm gonna respond to that.
David then said, anytime that we get the government involved, you're going to spend a lot and not get a lot.
I get a lot.
Right? And then Jordan's last comment was tinfoil hat. Right? Y'all are talking about control and all this kind of stuff. Right? Tinfoil hat. Right?
because
Y'all
Jordan's not controlled. I just know he's not.
think the creepy Big Brother government's controlling everything and all this
I
kind of
love
stuff,
Big Brother.
manipulating
I
y'all.
love
No, they
Right.
tried to.
Right. So, how do we deal with this in the education system? I genuinely believe this room,
Can I start this?
just like most rooms, could solve most of the problems because
I could run
this
a
is
small
where it's
country.
all very real and we talk it through, which is why I think the founders believed in a small, limited local government.
Right.
But anyway,
Yes.
so education, how do we fix it? Because I think that's a big part of what makes America great.
I don't know how we fix it at this particular
I think you
moment.
do.
But I'm
I
going
think you
to
do.
give a theory. At the end of the day, this is not all about the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer in the education system. So whenever she made a comment about the rich are only allowed to go to public school or private schools, and then the poor are the ones that just get shuffled over to these public schools. Like, at the end of the day, that's not 100% factual at all. The people that care about their children's education, some people literally struggle getting by driving their child to a private school, and they don't even make enough to feed themselves. So how are you telling me that it's just the rich that go to these private schools? That's preposterous.
Without you knowing,
but
on
the,
top-
the sacrifice of the quality of life kind of goes into the
Yes, my
discussion
parents
too. It goes
sacrificed.
back to
At the end of the day, then we're going to get to my main point. My main
Go
point
ahead.
is going to be right after this. It's going to be
It's-
just to
it's-
that. So the main point is the people that obviously go to private schools prosper more than people who go to public schools. Is that part of this little shindig of a conversation? Possibly. Is that a blanketed
Sure.
comment?
Yeah, it's a generalized
It's
comment.
a generalized
Thank you.
comment. So at the end of the
There's
day,
exceptions.
at the end of the day, the people that actually care about their children's education more than themselves is selfless in the fact that what they're giving. They actually want their child to go to a private school because they don't trust
They
the
will
public
certainly
school.
eat tuna fish
They
out
will
of a can.
do everything they can to get them to go there.
They will do
So-
what is required.
What's required? So at the end of the
And then
day,
some.
what is the difference between that person and then a mother and a father of or the lack
But
thereof
why
of a
do we
mother
have
father?
to do that? Why is our public school
Exactly.
system
Hold on.
suck so bad that we have to
Hold
sacrifice
on.
like that?
At the end of the day, it's not
Because
about
government's
sacrificing. It's
It
about
is
what
sad.
you're willing to do. If your community, you do
That's
what it
right.
takes
So-
to
so-
provide for.
So
as
wrap
you-
up your
as you-
point.
as
I
you're-
want you, then you.
As you as a mother, what's your community? It's your 2 children. That's you. That's your world. So if you stop worrying about all this other hoopla, worry about your children going to where you need them to go to provide the best care that you can to get them to the next level. The thing is, the problem is actually our parenting in the actual United States. How you parent your children is why they're unsuccessful, is why they don't have the knowledge that they should have, is because of their own ignorance.
Oh,
It's
we
their own
go
lack of
way
knowledge.
back. Now we're
I'm
going
going
back
way
to
back.
mama and
Lack
papa.
The
of drive.
parenting problem
Lack
of,
of commitment.
No,
of
that's
actually
Not
what
all
you
kids.
can.
That's not always.
I was gonna say.
Part of the
hang on.
hatred is
I was gonna
actually
say.
part of it too.
Land the plane. So I
Okay,
want
now.
to get Jason, and I want to get
Okay.
Steve's been awfully quiet.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Steve.
Normally
have my
I'm
platform.
used to Steve just like chiming in
But
all
if
the
I
time.
touch him too much,
course,
Esther's gonna
I've
break my
known
neck.
plenty
Steve.
of millionaires that went to public schools. I'm trying to
Sure.
say that is a
Yeah.
BS blanketed statement. That public is this hoopla of like
Yeah.
I went to
poor
public.
people go to-
It's
I'm
not
a product
all
of
it's
public.
not
Yeah, no,
all- it's
look.
not all public.
No, no,
I think
no.
that point was made earlier. It's
Yeah.
not all public schools.
Yes.
There are
Right,
some,
there are good
there
public
are some
schools.
schools, but there are some communities that should
There's
that
just
have a way lower
discrepancies.
level of education there. Their schools are on a different spectrum than the public schools we're talking about.
Yes.
And they may be, like I say, a mile or just a short distance away. Why is it that big of a disparity? That's not something that I can directly.
What's the disparity?
That's not something that I can directly control.
No. What is the disparity? This one's a mile over here. This one's a mile. What do you say the
Performance.
disparity is?
Whether it be
Performance?
whether it be
Based on what they're taught?
whether it be the books, whether it be the equipment, the space, the teachers that they have,
Caliber
the
of
pay.
teaching.
There's a caliber of teachers. There's a lot of variables that go into that.
I got you. That's all. I just want to understand that.
that makes that one school better than the other. So
Clear.
why do the people around that school have to struggle so much to try to get what someone else has?
If you
Kinda
don't know what
doubt
somebody
it.
else has, you wouldn't know what you're lacking.
Let me ask you a
I
question.
do when I get out into the workforce and I'm
Right.
you know,
And it's now life sucking.
Now life sucks.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Do you think that school choice, like right now we're mandated, you live here, you go here, period, right?
Right.
Do you think the opportunity for those parents to say, no, I want the freedom to pick
What school my child
Where
goes
my
to?
school
Open up
goes.
another can of worms.
Joe.
Everybody will be at the top school, right?
right?
I mean, I'm a single mom. I live in the Woodlands. Do you know what the average cost is to live in Woodlands, Texas? I've been there 10 years as a single mother. I moved there to raise my children so that they could get a better education. I make great
You know what it
sacrifices to live in a place that I could hardly afford because I knew that the I mean, it's not rocket science, people.
Yeah.
Listen.
I mean, I knew my kids were going to get a great, which they are, which they're getting a great education. But I had to make, going back to what you said.
You want to hit a nerve for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
when people talk about only rich people go to
Yeah.
private schools and all this kind of
Oh, yeah.
stuff, and I can't afford private. I'm like, hold up. My kids went to a private school when it represented a third of my income. My kids went to private school when I drove a 20-year-old Toyota Camry with no AC,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
it's a
So,
sacrifice.
so you want to tell me about not affording private school, but you're driving a brand new $700 a month car note.
Right.
You got cable. You got the top of the line cell phone with all of the bells and whistles.
But we're asking,
right?
why
So
are we
go down
there?
the line. I'm like, no. That's a different story about what you can and can't afford. It's a matter of priorities. But,
Priorities.
right, it's a whole different can of worms when we start talking about choice, school choice, right? And I agree. It's all kind of problems in there. But for me, I agree so much with what David said. Is that anytime that you get the government involved, you're gonna spend a lot more and get a lot less, right? The private sector, and it's proven, it is a mathematical fact. It's not my opinion. Private schools outperform public schools dollar for dollar every time. Right?
Government has been in charge of the education in this country for way too long. It needs to be returned to the states for them to figure out how they want to educate the children that live in their states. Now, I'm going to caveat that with a whole bunch of other little things that y'all talked about, is that everything the government touches, they're going to do with the money that they get. They are going to present a mediocre curriculum that does not have any real expectations for quantitative or qualitative result. We have kids graduating from high school that are going to college because they're being pushed to go to college and not learn trades and technical stuff. But they're going to college and they're still having to take remedial courses where they should have learned how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, all of those basic things, read and write and do the things that they can learn to expand themselves in college, not retract themselves into remedial courses that they should have learned in high school. So if you're gonna standardize, government standardizes everything. That's where we stand with the STAR test. We need teachers.
I don't like
My wife's a teacher, so when she teaches a STAR or the standardized testing here in the state of Texas, she's teaching the test to the kids all year. They're not learning anything but how to take the stupid test.
That's their goal.
And they still fail it.
Yeah.
That is and then the districts, they grade a teacher's performance on the kids that do not apply themselves. Okay? That is that's shooting yourself in the head.
It's a negative
it's
cycle.
ridiculous.
It's a cycle.
We can't get off that wheel.
So if we don't get out of this thing, if we don't give people vouchers to go to schools, if we don't provide the option to allow the parents, the good parents that want their kids to succeed, I will drive 50 miles. There are people around this country that drive their kids to and back 50 miles to school every cotton picking day. Okay?
I did it
so
for 3 years.
That is resolve. There's one thing that makes this country good. That's resolve. We have a resolve. When something lights your fire and gives you a passion, you're going to do it come hell or high water. Right. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And anybody that gets in your way, you're going to roll over them like they're nothing. Okay?
Let me tell you, I would
and what
a car with AC.
When government gets in your way, you want to roll over them, but some people feel very intimidated. Say, okay, well, I better go to this school right here because, it's close by and we've got busing to it. All these little things. And we got to reject this kind of stuff. As much as embedded as I am in the system, I reject a lot of the things that I see. I see things that would just, I could go on days talking about this kind of stuff.
But that's why we need more people like you in politics.
I've learned that you have to start rejecting it. I don't care what my leadership or my peers in that political arena say. They're my friends. We solve problems. We advocate for things. We go to Austin all the time to advocate for things. So we're getting involved with these issues. And I want so much to have one day, this is my big goal, one day to have kids going to college that want to go to college or are pushed because they think that they have to. They want to go to college and they don't have to take remedial classes. The day that we don't have to have in University of Texas, Texas A&M, Baylor, SMU, you pick your school here in Texas, where we don't send a bunch of kids there that have to take remedial classes, that is a tremendous victory for all of us. Because I always I tell people all the time in
Texas,
I say, we better start fomenting some relationships now with kids. We need to be giving them programs that enhance that, because you know what? We're not going to be around forever.
No.
We better get on the stick, because we are not being good stewards of what was established
No.
by the founding fathers of this country.
They
David
would be
Pitkin, I
embarrassed.
defy
They'd
you
be
to argue
ashamed.
against that. But I know he won't. I'm
Let me ask you
trying
this.
to light his fire here a little bit.
Let me
So-
ask you this.
You know, I mean, did they know? Did
Some
they
of
have
us are
any
sure
idea
they
though when they
established
established
The
it?
struggle.
Like you said, they were a small community when they
Somebody's struggle,
established
right.
those rules, and
Yeah.
they had no clue or idea what they were setting their standards would be one day. Like I'm sure they had a
Things
vision.
have changed, yeah.
I'm sure they had a vision, but
Don't the
now
founders?
we're at a
But
capacity
at the
that.
end of the day, the needs of a human being are all still
Yeah.
basic things.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually,
I don't want you
Yes.
to complicate being a
Hang
human.
on.
Like, don't complicate that.
yeah.
Being a human, the needs are all still the same. Whatever they based on the founding fathers, at the end of the day, the basic needs of humanity and actually being an individual in a society is all still very similar. Like, very.
I'll
The minute details of the laws and this stuff makes it complicated.
It's not
hang on.
minute.
I
It's
knew
not
it.
minute.
I know. Yeah,
Well,
I know
I
where
mean,
you're coming.
I
I
would
know.
say complex details. I
Hang
would
on.
call it complex.
Well, they are
Yeah,
complex.
very
And
complex.
It's what makes it complex.
But
What makes it difficult.
Yeah.
But when you have a set of principles that clearly, or it seems clearly,
Stated.
hang on.
it favors certain groups over others. You know.
I wish you had his constitution right now so we can actually go over
I know what
through
it
those.
says.
So which ones
I know
are
what
you
it
clearly
says.
talking
I
about?
know what it says, but what it says versus what's carried on out.
Well, at the end of the day, we need to go back to the simplicity of what it says. So the whole point is everything's misconstrued.
I don't think
Everybody can interpret something.
I don't think it was that pure
How
when
many,
it was made.
how many times is
I
the
think it was more
Bible?
pure-
How many times the
I think it
Bible
was
is
more pure
read
than a lot of
and
people
actually
realize.
interpreted in a different way?
Well,
I
it's
do.
like the Bible. People interpret the Bible.
Hang on.
thousand different ways.
Hang on. One. I don't. This is talking
Yeah.
over each other.
Okay, sorry.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
make sure that we
We're here.
respect
We're
each
clear.
other's. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say pure, meaning like you're setting this set of principles, but there were still people kept in like captivity. There were still injustices and things like that. So
Right.
even when writing it, this group still didn't have, in my opinion, pure intent to treat everyone fairly.
So let me ask you this.
They
right?
did, but it just wasn't followed out.
Hang on. So hang on. No, hang on.
You see what I'm saying?
Hang on. No, I think there's an entirely different angle, right? A very common objection to the idea, that this gets pretty heavy, but this is a point that I make a lot on the show. I love history, right? And I have like mad respect for the founders of our country. I've studied them a lot, studied their biographies, their lives. There's so much that the average citizen does not know about them. It's rather astounding. And a lot of common assertions that people make are just purely false, right? And a lot of it touches on race and slavery and a lot of the issues of the founding of the father. And I felt like that's kind of some of the stuff you were talking about, right? And so we had a founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that was a thesis statement from our founding fathers. And they made this assertion as a group of men. It was a treasonous statement. They were going against the most powerful nation on the planet, right? At that time, right? And by signing their names to it, it was a death warrant. We were this little pissant of a country, right?
Colonies, separate colonies.
I
We
mean,
had
just no
Every
power,
country.
no
Yeah.
nothing, all right? Yet, they said, in essence, look, you guys are so far off from the truth that we've got to declare ourselves independent from you, right? And so this is what they said. They said, we declare these truths to be self-evident, that all men, and this is a sentence where I know that so many people take objection with.
That's their intent,
Right.
but it's not
But
carried
It
out.
should.
But
not
hang on. Even with carried out, I want to get to this, right? It said, we hold the truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed with certain inalienable rights, and that of these, not limited to, but of these, amongst these inalienable rights, is the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And
Basically freedom.
right? Yeah. And it says, and that governments are instituted amongst men to ensure these rights. Right? So there's a thought process that says we're created, because we're created, we're equal. Because we're equal, we have certain inalienable rights just by the very nature that we're created,
That we're alive.
right?
That we're living. We have our
And it's this. They're saying this is self-evident to anybody, right? We're created, and because we're created, because we're equal, because we have these inalienable rights, governments are instituted to ensure these rights. So anytime somebody says God doesn't belong in government, they completely don't understand the premise of the founding fathers. That's the first fallacy, right? Without a God, there is no creation, there is no equality, there is no inalienable rights, there is no need for government then. So anytime somebody tries to make the argument that God does not belong in government, they do not know the concept, philosophies of the founding fathers, period. All right? Now, how do we deal with the fact that some of these guys who are writing these documents own slaves? That seems to be the ultimate hypocrisy, right? I know, hang on. I know I'm long-winded, I promise. I know. And I've made this speech a bunch of times. But I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, I promise. The reality was that it was not a black and white thing. Slave ownership in the world was white on white, black on white, black on black, pick your flavor. It was worldwide. It was worldwide. Everyone of every color sold and bought. Right? That was a reality.
That's the fallacy of that people don't know, and they want to make it a black and white.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This was not a black on white issue. It was blacks sold blacks into slavery in America. Right? That was a reality. Whites were owned white slaves from Scotland. They had slaves from Scotland here. So it had nothing to do with skin color. It's associated that way.
Who made it that way? We did.
Yeah, humanity did because we sucked. Right, we sucked as humans.
Made it a white-black thing.
Right. Well, no, okay, right. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So, but hang on. So where I'm going with that is
Reel
this:
him in.
is that
Right.
to bring it all back to this, because I really feel this is part of what made America great, was that thesis statement that they acknowledged this process
We're all equal.
of saying that God, because we were created, we're equal. Because we're equal, we have rights, and therefore we should set up a government that's totally designed to make sure that those rights are protected, right? And that everything dials back to that. We should have the right to talk and say whatever the hell we want because we are free and created. I should be able to say Trump's a moron. I should be able to say Obama's a moron. Whatever,
Everybody's
whoever.
a moron.
Right, they're all morons, right? And I shouldn't have to worry about my government trying to kill me because I said that.
Yeah.
Right? I should have the right to protect myself. I should have the right to protect my family with whatever force is necessary. You try to break in this house, I'm going to kill you.
Ooh.
All right?
Whoops.
I'm trained.
Slingshot and all.
I'm trained. My wife's trained. My son's trained.
I'm trained.
We have black belts. I have an AR-15. Try me. Right? I've got multiple weapons.
No chucks.
You break into the house in the cover of night, it will not fare for you well. I promise. There you go.
There.
Right?
You're like, what is this?
Right?
It's called Big Bertha.
21 feet and over, I'll cap you. 21 feet and under, I'll kick you. That's reality.
Oh, Lord.
Right?
Hey,
so I'm saying, but we have these.
Our founding fathers to weapons.
Yeah. We have these rights, is what I'm saying. We have these rights.
Freedom to protect.
You know
Now,
what?
I'm going to finish with this. I'm finished. I'm done.
Wrap it up.
I'm finished. I know it's
Wrap it
long-winded.
up.
I know it's long-winded. A lot of people
This
don't
is not a
know.
high school talk. I'm just saying, wrap it up.
Yes, sir. I promise. I'm sorry. I've been in the air for a long time. I'm going to land the plane.
Yeah, land
Right.
the plane.
What a lot of people don't know about our founding fathers, and Jefferson is one of my favorite, when confronted with the hypocrisy of the very serious words that he wrote. This is a guy that grew up in a wealthy family, Virginia, big old freaking farm, lots of money, all this kind of stuff. He's just a kid. He grows up in that setting, right? He's got money. He's got all this stuff. And owning slaves was as normal here as it was everywhere in the world.
Yep.
Right? When confronted with the hypocrisy of his words, that all men are created equal, how he dealt with that was to get rid of all of his slaves and end his life in abject poverty, literally selling off the books that he owned, that in that time period were a man's treasure of wealth.
Books were
Selling off
valuable.
his books so that he could live. And he died as one of the founders of one of the greatest nations that's ever existed in humanity. He died in poverty because, confronted with that, that's how he dealt with the hypocrisy.
He just
he was
gave it
a
up.
Because he's a human.
But
Exactly.
not all people.
And
are
not all
that
people
way.
deal with it. Exactly. Not all people deal with it well. George Washington dealt with it differently. I would challenge viewers and everybody else to study how they dealt with it because it's a great revelation of their character as human beings. But it's not as silly as people try to make it that, oh, they were just a bunch of hypocrites. They said those words and they didn't really mean it and it wasn't for that. So I think for me, that's why America's great.
Thank you for confirming some things and beliefs that I have. So that's good.
I just
I
appreciate.
So-
I just appreciate
So
everyone's opinion.
I feel like you got a lot to say over there. I feel you like
No. I mean, that's
I think
that's your opinion.
I'm
That's
about-
your opinion.
Yeah.
That's
I
our
think I'm
respect.
about to say something that you're
Hold on,
going to really
those weren't
enjoy.
opinions.
I'm done.
Is
But
there a
because-
potty break
I know,
on this
but-
show? Because
But I just want to say something
You
real,
need to hop
real
up.
quick. Those weren't his opinions. Those were he actually
There are
said
historical.
facts.
There's
Well,
a.
no,
Those
listen,
are historical
listen,
facts.
Listen. That's his opinion on how those people thought.
Sure.
Period. That's his.
Sure.
We don't
We
know
don't
any of
know.
those guys. So that's his opinion on how they thought when they
We
wrote
can
that.
study what they
their
said
intent
and-
was and how they felt afterwards. Not I don't that doesn't
Oh, the
matter.
intent of the word.
The intent of the words and,
I got
and their
you.
actions afterwards. We don't know what.
But I'm saying the other things are just historical facts.
Okay, you have some facts in it, but I'm saying his interpretation. Everybody's
Sure.
interpretation is different.
sure.
Sure.
Everyone.
I would just. I totally agree with that. I do. I totally agree with that. All I would say is, you can only examine actions, right? Words,
Based
and then
on words.
based on actions and words, does the interpretation line up
Words
with,
have to be
with those
backed up by
things?
action,
It sound-
and
sound-
actions have
sound
to be
like-
backed up by
It
words.
sound like
See
it
the
sound like he
results.
felt bad.
About
That's
Yeah.
what it sounded like.
Right.
To me. It sounded like
Potty
Yeah,
break.
we need to.
it sounded like he said, you know what?
I think he
I
got.
fucked up.
No, I
Well,
think
you know what? So no,
I think he got called out and he was okay.
Exactly.
I think he was like, okay, if that's what you see, because this is accepted in the entire world. But if you want to call me
It was
like
a
that,
self-
that's
bad,
what I've
but
done.
It
But
was
he
a
felt
self.
bad.
It's
He
a
didn't feel bad. He just said, I'm done.
so
self-induced punishment.
Right.
well, so check it out. Well, no, I don't even see it as a punishment. This is why it wasn't punishment. He was just making the decision that he felt was the right decision to make.
Right.
Because he gets confronted with these words. His society, his world, all around the world, people own slaves. That was normal. Of all colors, from all different races, religions, etc. Right? Some of it was religious based.
Right.
Right? Some Muslims took Christians into slavery. Some Christians took Muslims into slavery. Right?
But
It's like all around the world.
I don't believe that an intelligent person, a person of that intelligence, can say all men are created equal, but in the same consciousness say it's okay to own a slave.
To
A
own
lot of
human
them
beings.
did.
To own human
Yes,
beings.
a lot
Those
of them
two
were
things
part
don't
of
go
that,
together.
yes.
Those are intelligent men.
Oh,
Those two things don't go
But you know
together.
what I was fixing to allude to while everybody was going off on this? I had some time to kind of unpack a few things that you guys were talking about. Is that the original documentation, that Declaration of Independence, and years later we got our Constitution. In the meantime, we had these same guys with a few little extra players in there come into the fold that were creating documents called the Federal Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers. And in those papers, you can actually see where they were actually having the same kind of, gosh, you know, how can I possibly say that all men are created equal, yet I still own slaves? Well, a lot of them resolved that, but in the conception, the construct of what those documents represented, what they were intended to do, and the result of that is where we are today. We are always going to be in the result of what those guys sat down and just like what we're doing. None of them always agreed with each other.
Yeah.
They would sit around and work deliberating, and they would then go to the pub, throw back a couple of drinks,
Right.
And they got rowdy.
and they
got-
really got
yeah,
into it. But the thing
they got
is,
into
at
it.
the end of the day,
The intent was mutual.
they knew that when they went to their temporary homes there in Philadelphia, they had temporary homes there because they had to kind of keep on the low because the Brits were around there watching for them. They wanted to capture
I'm just
them.
saying it's kind of loud in the off-screen situation back there.
Yeah.
Chestnut.
Yeah.
Red
Anyway,
chestnut.
all I'm saying is that it was conceived
Guessed it.
perfectly. It was conceived in an imperfect environment where there was what I would consider out and out hypocrisy. Nobody can deny that. Nobody should deny that. But the result is that we are in a country that is great. It is exceptional. It still exudes exceptionalism. People from all around this little planet are looking to us to take the lead now. Where for a while there, we were kind of a laughing stock. We're kind of a laughing stock right now because of all of the blowback from somebody who just all he did was get elected to office. Okay, I wasn't going to make this about Trump, but you know, it is about who leads this country.
Stop talking bad about
Okay, so all I'm saying is it was conceived.
It's very loud off
perfectly.
camera.
It was conceived in an imperfect environment. Nothing was perfect. We have not been perfect. But
We're still not perfect.
but
We're
to
in a
continue
process.
to strive to fulfill those ideals,
You know what
that's a journey. That's a journey.
Absolutely.
I've enjoyed that
It's been a
journey.
really long journey.
I always,
And I'm a little
Yeah,
tired.
I always
But
say
it
all
hasn't
journey.
been that long though.
what do you
240
mean?
some odd years.
Are you saying like the slavery 300 years? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just saying it's been a really. He's saying from when those principles were set, we've been striving to fulfill them, and we've been striving for a pretty
Well,
long
and I
time.
think you know what?
I would say that in the last 100 years, what we've done with our entire nation blows my mind. I say we've overachieved everything that we can ever do on the fact of the construction, the infrastructure, the building, the
But they're
technology.
still closing schools down.
We still struggle, which was we're still imperfect human beings. We're still imperfect
As
human
beautiful
beings.
a country as we are, I was driving in downtown Houston 3 days ago. I saw a little Asian boy who was homeless on the corner. He could not have been more than 12 years old. He was grabbing an apple from a volunteer worker, and I cried at the stoplight that in this day and age, in Houston, Texas, in the most beautiful city, in the most beautiful state, that there is still a child that is homeless and hungry. Like, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And government has made it illegal.
To
The local
feed-
government to
yeah.
feed homeless people.
Yeah.
So you tell me where it is, how that makes me feel, because I know one of the guys. He's a great advocate for this. A guy named Eric Dick. He ran for mayor for a few times, but he got laughed because his charity was to go out there and make it totally acceptable for anybody to be able to come up to somebody.
Me.
Yeah, it kills me too.
It killed me.
Because, you know, to me that's the
He
most
was a
asinine thing.
child.
That is the
He's
antithesis.
a child.
That is the
that's
antithesis of
epitome
what
human
we're
beings
supposed
is
to
be
be.
able to give to others. So it's the
I
epitome
drove
of
around the
human ability.
block. I had my 16-year-old. I drove around the block crying because I wanted to put him in my car because he's a child. You know, if you're a drug addict, if you make bad decisions in your life,
Oh, yeah, you
and
can
you're
get
there,
help.
it's okay for you to be homeless. But a child at 10, 12 years old, they did not make those choices to be there. Someone needs to be responsible for the homeless and the hungry children.
There was another topic that I had. It didn't make it on the list for this show, but I had a topic of should homelessness mandate child. I'm blowing the title. Should children be taken away from homeless people? That was another subject
you know, he was
of
in
a
the little
show.
Asian boy.
Well,
There was
at the
no
end of
one
the day,
around
why-
him.
why-
I don't want to go off the rails on another subject.
Yeah, that's
I
the
just
whole-
killed
why-
me.
does that
wrap it up?
What-
I mean,
what-
but why-
What
At the end of the day, I want y'all to think about what children get taken from their parents. So why do you have to put homeless as a type of person?
Well, and I
that
don't
is-
even know if he was homeless.
So
I
at
was
the
at
end
a
of the day,
light.
think
I
about
mean,
it.
I
An
was just
unfit
assuming.
parent
Yeah.
that cannot provide for a child should always be having to give up their child. So whether they're homeless, whether they're actually in an apartment, or whether they're in a damn home, if they are unfit to actually provide for that child,
It's just who gets determined unfit, and that's where the can of worms happens.
That mean next
You
Friday.
want the government?
That's
to
another show.
have a-
That's next
I don't want
Friday.
that.
You
The
don't
government
want-
you don't
you
trust.
have
I
to
want
help
I like your thought process is the community does it. And I
Yeah.
told him earlier whenever we talked about communication on the side of global things is like
Should be
if
local.
you keep
Should
it
be
local,
communication.
it
And
doesn't
was-
widespread with
And I
you
want
don't
to-
infect the next nation or the next country or the next city or the next state with these stupidity stuff that's going on in
And
this
I should be
particular
able to
spot.
go get sandwiches and apples and pass them out where I want.
And
Do
that
what
is
you want.
that is part of the
But
Why
that's
brilliance.
can you not
illegal.
do that?
I
Hold on,
just,
why can
I
you
know,
not do
but
that?
I could get a ticket for
Get a
that.
ticket
Yep.
for it.
Yeah.
If I literally
It's
make
an
care
ordinance.
packages and pass out
Yeah.
to the homeless,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
You would be
Yes.
you would be
Ordinance to
cited.
not
You would
be
you
done.
would.
You know what?
yeah.
I'm glad I'm on the show because I just learned something new.
If I put that
'Cause I
child
buy
in my
food
car,
and
taking him home, I
drinks, I
probably
give
would have
money
gotten
away,
killed.
and you're
I mean,
telling me
Just
arrested
look
for
up-
kidnapping.
Just
All
look
right.
up Eric Dick.
All right, guys.
He's a
We've
dick.
got
I
to
don't
Okay,
wanna
we're,
look
yeah,
him
let's
up.
wrap it up. We're
We
2
got-
All
hours
right,
in.
Joe. All right, Joe. Let's
we
get
got
it.
we got to dial this in. So listen, we're gonna end the show, but
Are you sure? There needs
We
to be a
love it
segue to
here.
a
We
part
love it
two.
here.
we often go live on Instagram after the show is over.
Oh man.
And it's just kind of a behind the scenes. We just throw the camera up
Yeah.
and we keep shooting the bull and drinking wine, and talking and having a good time.
Okay.
Right. So we'll probably do that because we got plenty to talk about.
Are you telling me it's illegal
Uh,
for me to give somebody
yeah.
food on
Yes.
the street?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind.
I know.
Yeah. Another reason why government doesn't need to be involved. So
and I'm gonna get a ticket.
part of my why America's great thing is these guys had enough of a concept to say the further you get from the problem, the less effective government is. So their idea was federal government should be small, limited, and have a bunch of checks on it.
And constrained and bound
Constrained
to
and bound as much as possible.
enumerated powers.
Right.
And that federal government has gone way outside of that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
How do you put that genie back in the bottle? If you tell me how to do it, I'll consider you presidential material.
yes,
Let's
because
talk, baby.
yeah,
Hey!
Hey!
right.
This man's got the confidence right here.
That
talk.
federal
You
government
want him to
should
run
be
your campaign.
small.
Let's talk.
Federal government should
I'll
be
run that
small.
campaign. You know,
There
you know what's
are
up.
many,
So
many
listen.
people at my level who are dedicated to
Making that
every
happen.
one of these issues.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your story is. I have a high degree of confidence and respect for them. And Texas is probably one of the few states where people at our level can get out there and really make an impact.
Yes.
And I mean, seriously, for me on a personal note, I have been told by many serious elected officials that once I get a kidney, once I get my health back up to status,
He can run.
if I run for office, I will be the most dangerous man in Texas. If you think that some of the people that you think that you know that
I don't
you hear
always
about,
run for office,
you know,
but when I do,
these things are
I'm the most
just
dangerous
going to
man.
be. I will bowl over people that get in my way.
I will back
I
you.
already have people that see me coming down the hallway there in Austin sometimes, and they turn around, they're running for their life because they know I'm not going to be playing
We're
games
gonna
with
get you a
them.
kidney.
And I
Steve.
want so bad to duplicate that with everybody that I meet that's passionate about these things.
yeah,
I don't care what your story is because your story is important to you and what you bring, the passion that you bring to what's important to you.
But not everybody
I've
thinks
expanded so much on so many little things that I thought were important to me as a politician. I've gone through and I've really opened it up. This is something that you have to do. You have to be getting really comfortable with things that make you uncomfortable. And the things that you saw that you get passionate about, the things that you've seen in your life, things you've seen in your life, things that Joe's done in his life, is these are passions. This is what drives us. The passions that drove those men to get together in Philadelphia and create this thing. Get it started. It's that pebble that you drop in a cool, calm pond. Once you drop that pebble in there, those waves go out. They don't stop.
Yeah.
And more people get involved. That's why I say I'm not going to be around forever. But if I don't do my due diligence and get other people as passionate as me to get involved, start getting educated. Don't get so skull-blocked on semantics that you hear on TV and sound bites and video bites. Get past that distracting crap
Just stop listening.
and start really focusing on
Go do it.
what is it that serves
Go do it.
that solves the homeless
just-
problem or feeding problems, those
Go
things.
do it.
You know, if I could be king for the
Get
day,
shit done.
this is the ultimate fantasy for people who have ambitions to get into office. If I could just be king for a day, I could solve all the world's problems.
One day.
Number one, the first problem is I'm not going to succeed. You have that realization, but you're going to give it every damn chance, every ounce of
we
what
just
you
lost
can
our
bring to it.
PG rating.
We don't even have the sign anymore right now. I can't.
It's NC-17.
We just pushed the 2-hour mark.
So I'm just saying.
We didn't
I
start
think
till
it's important.
6:23.
Oh, okay, we're out.
So we get another 20 minutes. Great.
Yeah, but we doing good. We got
Are we
comfortable
gonna
chairs. I mean,
ever,
this is great.
Rate the wine.
Me and him
Yeah,
have
we
to
gotta
sit here in
rate
great
wine.
posture and look all
drank
sexy
like
and
three.
stuff.
Right.
You know, we can't even leave
But we
that.
got
Let's do
to
the bull
rate
and
that
heifer.
one.
I wanna talk about the bull and heifer.
The bull
The
heifer.
bull and heifer is a very mediocre one.
I want to talk about it.
Christian over here has been hiding the better one.
These two are phenomenal. If y'all wanna check out these. I drank both these.
Wait. Can we talk about the bull and heifer first?
Bull and heifer, you know what? This is a very middle of the road, give it a steak wine. I think that's
Give
why
it
it's
a
called
For sure.
bull
No,
and
no,
heifer.
For sure. Give it a steak and it's going to be
We-
good.
Yeah.
Can
Hey,
we go around?
Joe,
We want to talk about it.
Joe, both Tony and I I think Christian got the hint of it as well. That bull heifer wine had a hint of honey
For sure.
with a kind of a raisiny kind of a snap to it, and it was that snap
just
was
that
really
much.
subtle.
It was that it.
But it was smooth. I can't think of anything else to have with that. I could sip that by itself. I usually try to pair a wine like that. That wine will go probably with just about anything.
Yeah.
I think it's a
But
good
you
steak
can sit
wine.
back
I do.
and drink
That's a
this.
good
Yeah, it would be a
girlfriend.
steak wine. Yeah.
That's a good female wine.
Stanky
It-
wine.
It's
it's-
kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I do like a little bit of a stout cheese.
I will
with it.
tell you.
Yeah, you can do that.
I will tell you that
Just
this wine here is a red blend. It's called Night Guardian.
I didn't
And-
get to taste
I
it.
Yep.
didn't get any of that. Wait a minute, wait a minute.
That's
Okay.
because
I think
Christian
Christian
bogarted the
Is that
wine.
I'm
Christian
so
was
sorry.
good.
Christian bogarted the wine.
Can I say sorry but not sorry?
Night
Is
Guardian
that possible?
was really good. I think Christian.
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the
I
bottle.
He
do want to
enjoyed the
say
bottle.
the Gold Belly was my favorite.
I bought that for y'all, so I drank
This
this
is a
wine, but I
very
bought this for
good-
everybody.
Very good, 93 you said rating.
93 rating, specs is beautiful.
It was
Gold Belly,
really
yeah,
good.
it's definitely good. I will tell you guys, Gold Belly at Specs, that you need to. It opens up very bold. It mellows definitely. Like give it 15.
Once you open it up,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get
20
Get a
minutes.
little,
Air.
yeah, 15, 20. You let it breathe. It definitely mellows into a great
Gold
wine. I
Belly's
really
pretty.
enjoyed that one. Yeah.
Gold
I wish
Belly's
I had
pretty.
something to say with the wines. I don't know what I drank. I think every time I looked over, I think Christian was like,
Pour you something new.
You just were drinking.
You know,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
happy.
You know,
I was
think,
giving him truth serum. You know what I mean?
Hey.
I wanted him to be
you want him
honest
to
with
open
shit.
up. You
I wanted him to
to
open up. I felt he was a little reserved. And I actually wanted to get him a little bit of a Cabernet reserve. That it was a little truth serum. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Truth serum.
we have a shirt on the Wine No Wine Show page. If you're a fan of the show, we call you a grape head.
Yes.
And it spoofs kind of the Dr. Pepper, like I'm a pepper. It says I'm a grape head. And same kind of maroon color. But on the back, it says In Vino Veritas. Right? In wine, truth. In wine, truth.
It's truth
That's
serum.
right. We have a little bit of science about how this show works. I mean,
Yes.
it's not
Jesus drank wine.
it's not on accident that we
Jesus
drink
told me.
wine.
You know, prior to the show starting, you know, prepping us to really be open and this and
It's
that.
called
All you
warm
should
up.
all
It's
you
called
should
warm
have done
up.
was just
Just
keep
pour
filling
wine.
up. Literally, all you should have done was you should have smiled at us and just been like,
Hey, when you're sad, wine is good. When
just
you're happy,
pour the
wine
wine.
is good.
Yes.
When you want the truth. wine is
So
good.
guys, we are going to wrap up the show, and I think we need to throw up the Instagram and go live on Instagram and just
Yes.
continue to shoot the bull and get a little real behind the scenes.
You guys stay tuned.
Keep digging
Stay
into
tuned.
this conversation because this is a
There's
deep.
some deep
subject.
We're
touchy
just
stuff.
getting started. 3 bottles amongst these
Right.
grape heads. We got
I've
grape
got
heads
I've
back
got 2
there.
more in the car.
Right.
We're good. We're
This
good.
is
Oh, look out.
you're talking about pro wine drinkers here.
Yeah.
These are-
I got some nice
we
wine
we
in the
can put
car.
down some vino.
great
Yeah.
fish.
Hey,
Yeah.
we don't have any humble PD watching this, do we?
No.
Okay.
Well, we're not driving anywhere. All spending the night.
No.
Right. Everybody's
We're all-
spending the night.
This is it for me, right?
We've got Uber. It's
The only driving I'm doing is A1 go-karts on 290 in Beltway. I'm going to go there next.
All right,
Racing.
Ethan.
Running little kids.
crazy.
You got the
it's on.
in-stream.
It's on.
Track.
You ready?
Thank you for staying.
I'm
go.
going there at like 9:30.
Thank you for staying an hour and 43 minutes with us, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a crazy show, crazy difficulties, but hey, it was a good show.
Good topic.
I can't wait to look at all the comments because there was crazy, awesome comments during the show. We had to put them off the screen because we got derailed.
And if you
So-
want us, we're all for rent. No, I'm just
See?
kidding.
Yeah, we're all for it.
We're all for rent here.
For the right price.
Can I
Getting everybody.
We'll
Can
come
I-
on your
He's a
show.
great head.
can I get us all to cheers?
Yeah!
Cheers.
Great.
Cheers. Cheers.
Great show, great show, yes.
All
We're
right.
out.
Have a good
See you
Friday.
guys.
Have a
Appreciate
good
you.
Friday.